Okay, so this week, what you will do is you will learn a little bit about glaciers. So we're continuing with learning about the processes that sculpt our Earth. And the whole idea, of course, is that if we understand these environments and the erosional features and or depositional features that they leave behind, it helps us interpret the rock record so that we can tell the story, right? What happened here in the geologic past. So that's why we're going to learn about glaciers this week. And so, like usual, there is a PowerPoint here, and then there's a video that kind of walks you through the PowerPoint. And so in this one, although I try not to focus on terminology, lots of names and things with the glaciers, there is some terminology because glaciers do leave behind specific features, both erosional and depositional. And so we name these features. And so there is some nomenclature things that you have to kind of know, identify. And so just be aware of that as you're going through the PowerPoint. So when you take the quiz, there will be some identification of these features. So make sure that you're aware of what they are called and can identify what they look like. And so there's two types of glaciers that we'll discuss. Ones that are called alpine glaciers. These are ones that are kind of isolated in mountain ranges. And then the other called ice sheets. These are these big, expansive deposits of ice that cover large areas like Greenland and Antarctica and things like that. And so you're going to go through the PowerPoint here for the lecture quiz. For the article, there is a little description of glaciers, kind of how they move, right? How glaciers grow over time, how they move down kind of slope, and of course how they potentially might recede or get smaller. And so that's kind of discussed in this article. And then the video from the Earth Revealed series is once again kind of a different way of looking at the content from the main lecture PowerPoint. So some different animations and things like that that hopefully will help you understand glaciers and how they move and all that kind of good stuff and kind of reinforce some of that information. And then finally for the homework, I'm actually going to have you look at a how the Earth was made video, and it focuses on the Americas, in particular North America, and it talks about the ice ages that have occurred in the geologic past. Now, there has been ice ages that have happened, millions and billions of years ago. This one talks about the most recent ice age event, and they occurred about 2 million years ago, and they kind of came about where the ice sheets grew and expanded and moved down into North America and the United States. Of course, they were happening worldwide where they grew, but then they receded a little bit and then they grew again. So this kind of pattern of growing these big ice sheets and then having these ice sheets recede was something that occurred multiple times in the last 2 million years. And they kind of ended about 10,000 years ago. So it's pretty recent. But they do a really good job of identifying the features left behind, so they understood that there was this kind of growth of these ice sheets in the recent geologic past. And so I think it's useful to go through that. So for that, there's just that handout, I guess. It's just a digital file, but that's having you answer some questions as you work your way through the video. So you can just go ahead and do that. And of course, when you complete that, you can just upload it to that little place there where you can submit your homework. And finally, for the lab, we try to match the lab and lecture, but it doesn't always work out that way. This is kind of related, and we just did finish up some water stuff. So the lab is actually going to be this one here, where we're going to look at Arizona hydrogeology. So we're going to look at kind of the surface and groundwater and kind of how we manage water in Arizona. And so that's kind of what the lab will be. And of course, the format is, as always, what you're used to. You're just going to go through the content, click the links, look at the maps, answer the questions, and then submit that for a grade. All right, that's what you'll do this week. And as always, if you have some questions or you need some answers, please feel free to contact me.